CNN and MSNBC are at the edge of collapse, but that is not what the legacy media is saying, not in the least. They're telling you there's a feast of new viewers, at least turning into MSNBC, MSN Now. Folks, somehow that's the narrative, but we are here to dissuade you of that because we've got the stats to show even a government shutdown where they sent the federal workers home didn't give hardly any bump at all to Rachel Maddow. Get ready, folks. We'll show you how somehow they might be going away later this year. Ladies and gentlemen, never fear, for the Pro Channel is back, and we are bringing the truth near to you as best we can. A PhD level of understanding in what's really going on behind the scenes of the legacy, going extinct dinosaur media. Folks, click the like button and let's get into why a new bump in ratings for MSNBC and CNN might not be the win they're saying in the articles all over the web. Would you like to know what it is instead? We've got answers. Let's go in. CNN and MSNBC are in deep, deep trouble. This is from Mays. It says, here's CNN's John King and Dana Bash just a few months ago on Trump's efforts to end the conflict in the Middle East. Folks, here's what these geniuses had to say, and then we're going to tell you why their ratings are going away to the degree that CNN and MS Now might be MS of the past.
The premise of this whole conversation was an expectation that Donald Trump himself set in the campaign, which is, I'm going to fix all of this. And a lot of people believed it. It turns out even the Hamas terrorists, apparently, who were holding hostages.
Yeah, they wanted...
Who?
The terrorists.
We're afraid of Trump.
Yeah, they wanted Kamala to be chosen to be elected.
You talked politics with them?
Yeah. They wanted Kamala to be elected.
The war is definitely not over, and not all hostages are out.
Not all hostages are out. And again, another thing that Donald Trump said would end. But the rest of the world is saying Donald Trump cannot be trusted on these issues where America used to lead. There is American leadership here. It's Netanyahu, do whatever you want. It's not, how do we end this? Where's an American president to try to figure this out? He just wants Gaza emptied so they can build hotels.
I think it's the same idea of what we were talking about with Ukraine, is that he didn't understand why it wasn't being done before he was there. Then he got into office and realized, wow, this is really, really hard. And now he's turned his attention elsewhere. So that's what's happening.
There you go, folks. There's the prophets of CNN and MSNBC. Out of Adweek, let me show you how bad it is. And remember that CNN, they've been spun off. They're on their own. MS Now has been spun off. They're on their own. They don't have their parent companies to subsidize them anymore. Adweek has this, the week of September 29th, cable news ratings, cable nets seen gains in total viewers. It's a positive read, but ladies and gentlemen, you need to see what we're going to show you. And that is that this is based on something that won't be sustained. Let me show you why. This is by Mark Machiro, again out of Adweek. It says, according to Nielsen's Big Data Plus panel for the week of September 29th, Fox News averaged 2.45 million total viewers and 247,000 in the demo during prime time, down 1%. Okay, we're just going to pay attention to prime time right now. MSNBC in prime time averaged 892,000 total viewers and 87,000 in the demo. Now, that sounds terrible because it's way, way behind Fox, but that's actually a bump up for MSNBC, 5% up and 23% up in the demo. Hang on, I'm going to explain why that happened, and it'll make total sense. CNN averaged 534,000 in primetime viewers, 84,000 in the demo, down 1% and 2%. So what happened? What caused these networks, Fox and CNN to lose slightly, MSNBC to get a big pickup? What happened? What happened? Well, folks, what if we told you this was the week of the government shutdown? And these cable networks, CNN and MSNBC, have been surviving on a steady diet of Middle Eastern conflict and government shutdown. Well, one of those things has now gone away, at least seemingly. And so when you take one away, the question becomes, if the government shutdown also ends in the future, and it will end at some point, what will CNN and MSNBC have left to cover? Guys, I got to say, and we'll go to Ron first on this one. Ron, MSNBC and CNN only saw modest pickups. With the government shutdown, the majority of federal workers are, in fact, CNN and MSNBC watchers. So they went home and watched it, and they got like a 5% pickup. CNN actually lost numbers. Now we've got the peace deal. That's been driving a lot of viewership. I don't know what they're going to do. This keeps getting worse and worse for them. And it's really a strange juxtaposition that the better the world gets, the worse ratings get for CNN and MSNBC. Your thoughts, Ron?
Well, I do have a question about the ratings bump. Was it at all possible there were more flights that week and more people in airports? That's the only place I ever see these things. Honestly, yeah, it's a ratings bump based on the fact that sure there was a lot of government workers home, and weren't there like 40,000 plus laid off? Am I getting that number wrong?
It's a lot of people, and there are a lot of people being furloughed right now. There are a lot of people who they have extra time to be at home and to turn on the news that they view as being more accurate. And yet, with the opening week now, I mean, it took us this long to get these ratings. Now we're just finally getting these results in. I don't know how ABC and NBC and CBS are doing, but I can tell you that MSNBC and CNN did not see the kinds of lifts that you would expect if federal workers are going home and watching their favorite network shows to say, what's going on here? Now, in all fairness, Fox News saw a slight decrease as well, but Fox News shouldn't be getting a big bump off the government shutdown. Republicans probably love the government shutdown, at least by and large.
Yeah, it's the whole, honestly, the whole legacy media news game at this point in time. For me, at least personally, it feels over just because the schedules and the way people watch TV. And it's very interesting because if a lot of people that had certain schedules where they were away from television and now have the opportunity to watch it, yeah, their eyes are kind of maybe glued on, hey, what's going to happen to my personal job, my personal life next? It could have a very personal interest with them, whether they're going to have a job tomorrow, go back to work, whatever. But to most of us out there, we don't care. We're as far as I can tell, and I think I've seen commentary on this, the vast majority of people in the United States right now may not even know that the government is shut down.
That's probably true.
Their lives.
Jonas, one of the things that we're going to see, I believe, going forward from CNN and MSNBC to try to survive, hyper focus on immigration and ICE. We're going to see a real refocusing on Ukraine. But a lot of the stuff that has driven their viewership, which isn't great, is going away at the same time that they've been spun away from their parent companies.
Yeah, they're lowering the value of the product that they offer here as they do this, and there's going to be a lot of moves in the entertainment space right now, and unfortunately, news is entertainment. News media is separating out from the giant media conglomerates that they used to be a part of, and now they're turning into smaller conglomerates. Like the question is going to come up of whether or not Comcast is going to be shedding some channels. At the same time that Warner Brothers is shedding some channels in order for some cross-pollination to happen there on the studio side. So it's really important for these brands to have some value. So if you're not in a more entertaining side of the news brands, like a Fox News, again, I'm not necessarily a Fox News fan when I say this, but they do tend to know their audience a little bit better than CNN. Or if you're on the MSNBC, MS Now side, you know the audience. You have a pretty good idea of who that audience is. With CNN, their supposed market was supposed to be the person who wanted unbiased news. And they have failed in delivering that product. They're supposed to be the baseline. And if they're not the baseline, then you might as well go somewhere else. So I don't know. I think the CNN brand here is so tarnished. It only has resale value at this point. And then that's a matter of debate and negotiation.
They continue to be incorrect over and over and over again. And I just don't know how many times you could be that incorrect before your audience. You know, we've already seen the audience be crushed after the election because they presented one reality and that the real reality was different. So I don't know, Marvin, your thoughts on, with this peace deal happening, I feel like the audiences of CNN and MSNBC also may be experiencing mass cognitive dissonance.
Well, that's the thing. When you're being told that this guy is the most evil human being on the planet every single day, 24 hours a day, and suddenly he does one of the biggest, positives the world has seen in decades. You're unsure of what to do with yourself. You're unsure of what these people are saying to you. Now, and I know people that watch MSNBC and CNN, and when I try to say, well, they hide things and this, that, and the other, they think I'm lying. They're like, no, they tell the truth. It's not like that Fox News. Like they all think, like, I can acknowledge that Fox News is slanted too. Like I think the biggest potential that we have for actual news that is middle of the road is going to be CBS going forward if Barry Weiss is able to do the things that she wants to do. It's why I use Ground News as my news app, because it actually has a slider that tells you the bias in the articles that you read. So yeah, I think people are starting to wake up to realize that, wait a minute, you said this guy is, Satan himself, and now all of a sudden he's brokered peace in the Middle East. So.
Yeah, I'm with you. Culture, what's going to happen with the ratings for MSNBC and CNN now that there's a peace deal?
Well, I mean, it's pretty obvious to everybody watching this that they're gonna fall even further. You realize that in the third quarter of this year, very recently for 2025, that the ratings for CNN was already in full-blown collapse at losses of over 42% in primetime viewers and 58% in the demo. It's not like this has not been like super duper fun. And that's compared to 2024 numbers, and you can no longer claim that has to do with the elections. That's recent ratings for this company. PMSNBC has the same problem. So when you look at it and you look at the layoffs that Ron mentioned earlier, they had 2 rounds of layoffs, the end of 2024 and 2025, 2 massive sets. They're not just restructuring at this point. They have to make themselves palatable to something Jonas mentioned as far as, are they valuable as a sale item? And that's where we are with all of these networks, all these cable networks, all these news networks. They have no prayer of the ratings going up. You can't add viewership because nobody's buying the gloom and doom and fear that they've been selling, because none of the things that they've been peddling have come to fruition. You can't sell something that, is never going to show up. And that's a problem. It's like, all these people predicting everything like, oh, well, Trump's going to be done. He's going to be arrested. Nobody believes that stuff anymore. And so nobody's listening to these people that are supposed to be the paragons of virtue, telling you truth. That we haven't seen truth in a very long time. And I think when the independent media, that guy's more trusted than anybody else that CNN, PMSNBC, and maybe even Fox is. I mean, a lot of people, have reason to believe in what Fox says because they're getting it right more often than not. But if you want like actual information from people that are on the ground, well, they're likely to be, streaming with Tim, or it could be Tim himself. And we live in a very different world. People were pushing for a post-truth world, for a narrative world. We were living in that era when, we were pretending that the guy that was supposed to be running the country, wasn't on vacation for the majority of his term. So, I'd say the whole 4 years were one out to lunch experience that, you couldn't argue effectively because you didn't have the information because the government wasn't being run properly. Now, at least, go ahead.
Well, it's funny, Culture, because there was this idea that we were going to have this post-truth world on your TVs, right? And in your newspapers, if those exist anymore. Yeah. In the articles, post-truth, it's a narrative-driven world. But it turns out that even the people who were professing that was the way to go, not even they want their electrician or plumber to be a post-truth blue-collar worker. Even they,
a surgeon,
Yeah, nobody asked their cardiovascular surgeon, hey, are you postmodern? The Hollyweirds don't understand how it is we do what we do, bringing you video after video every single day of the utmost highest excellence and quality. But folks, we do it because of you. We appreciate you. You are seen and heard here on the Pro Channel. Make your voices heard, folks, by doing one last thing before we say goodbye for a short time. Consider clicking the like button. Share, subscribe, And you know what? That notification bell, click it and stick it to the algorithms. Also, drop a comment down below and let us know your thoughts. And don't forget, folks, we've got even more content on the way. If you'd like to become a member, it's just the price of a soda per month, and you'll gain access to all kinds of exclusive content beyond what the public sees, including archival footage of the Pro Show that goes away after just a few days from its public release. Folks, we hope we get the honor of spending time with you again soon, and until then, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.
Why listen to music made by people and companies who really don't like you? Check out Vacation Radio today and prepare for all new content made by the people behind the WDW Pro Channel. It's the place you need for all the music. That should be fun. Hundreds of songs, every genre you can imagine. Listen live on YouTube and enjoy a set list that's always sunny. It's Vacation Radio. What are you waiting for? Every WDW Pro video has a link to Vacation Radio in the video description. Try it out and subscribe today.